Today we're going to be taking a look at Book Creator. Book Creator can be found in your Clever library under Featured Resources. If it is your first time in, it will ask you grade levels that you teach and subject areas, and for you to name your first library. So taking a look up on the top here, we are going to click on the yellow Add New Book. When we do this, it will ask what type of book you want. So I always select a book that is on the bottom row. These are all comic books. All it does is offer you additional features that you will not be able to get if you choose a book in the top row. There's also templates available, and these are really just sort of like the format and layout. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to choose landscape comic. All right. Once we get in, we have the option to go back to our library. Pages will show you the pages that you have in the book. So if I click on this, the default anytime you create a new book is to give you 3 pages. And here you are able to rearrange them. You can duplicate exact pages if you'd like the format you created. You could also copy it to another book. You could also delete the pages here. We have the undo button. It's not quite as fancy as an undo that you would see in Google, but it will definitely undo the last thing that you did. Next up, we have what page number you are on. And then we have the 2 most important buttons within Book Creator. We have the plus button. This is to add anything to your page. We have the I or the inspector button. This is to edit anything on your page. This final is a play button. It is to read the book. So it just takes you into the read only mode where you would be able to flip through the book, or you could have it read aloud. Oftentimes, students may accidentally hit that play button when I say arrow to the next page. To get back, you just click on edit. All right, under the yellow plus button, these are the different options we have to add things to our page. You can add images, and it is a Google search, but it is vetted to be school appropriate. So we can type in frog, and then you would just click on what you want and go ahead and hit add. Some nice features within images is we have the microphone right here. So it is speech to text, making it a great accessibility tool. You also have the ability to upload images from your computer. So if you have some image saved on your device, you are able to upload that. All right, so we have our image on our page. Just a couple of things that we can do with this. If I click on it, so the blue box is around it, I'm now able to edit my image by going to the I, the inspector button. And down here, I have the image, the option to crop. Just like you would crop an image on your phone, you can drag it. You could drag from the corner, and then you go ahead and hit crop. And then if you wanted to resize what you cropped, you have the ability to do that. If when the blue box is around it, I still can go back to the eye. If I go to the crop, the whole original photo is still there. All right. Also, under the inspector button there are 2 additional features. We can hyperlink it. So I could put in a web address for National Geographic about frogs, something like that. And then if someone clicked on the image, it would take them to that website. I also have the ability to hyperlink it to a different page within the book, which is great. The accessibility piece here is if there is a word or phrase typed in here and students had it in their read mode and it was read to me, it would then read whatever I wrote here. So I could write the word frog, and then it would play frog. It would say frog if someone was reading the book. We can move the image to the front or the back of the page, just meaning the layers of it. And then I also can lock this image into place so that students would not be able to move it if I gave them their own copy of the book. Ultimately, they could move it because they could click on it and hit unlock, but it just kind of gives that extra little layer, so maybe they won't be as tempted to. You'll see I also have this option down here to delete the image. So this is one way you can delete things on your page. The other thing you can do is if you click on it and the blue boxes around it, you can hit the backspace button on your Chromebook. Or you also could right click, or students would do the 2-finger click, and then you have a menu here where you could cut the image out, you could copy it, you could crop it, again, front to back, lock it, or delete it. All right, let's add something else to our page. If we go back to that yellow plus button, we do have, we're going to skip a couple of these right now. We're going to go to text because this is our cover. Because I chose comic book, we have 4 different options here. So we have caption, and that will just give you a black box around your text like you would see in a comic book or graphic novel. Title and boom are great for your cover. It just is naturally a larger font. The boom does come at an angle. And then text is just your basic text. If you do not choose a comic book, this is the only option you have here. So let's go. I'm going to click on boom. I'm going to type in frogs. Now, you'll see up here, there are some editing tools. The only one I really use within this might be linking if I want to hyperlink some part of my text. But as far as the bold, and I'll show you a different way you can get that, you might want to use bullet points. We also have speech to text here, which is fantastic. You have the ability to change the language. So you can see I already have mine on German, but there are a ton of different languages. Down here, we have special characters so that you are able to use any special characters. We also have our special characters for math, and we can go ahead and click done. So as I mentioned, that first one I chose, it was on the angle. Now, when we have that blue box around, we can edit by going to the inspector button. Here, I can make my text larger or smaller. I'm going to make my text box as wide as my thing. I can center the text within my text box. Here's where I can bold it. You could bold it within the original text box, but I typically like to do all my editing within the inspector button. We have font choices. So with that boom choice, the default is bangers, but we can choose from any number of fonts that we like. We'll do some permanent marker. I'm also able to change the color of my font, and I could change the color of my text box. Now, if I don't like any of my color options, I can go to the plus button here, and I can drag my circle and then my other circle wherever I'd like and hit apply. You will see that on just for teacher accounts, there is an eyedropper here. If I click on that eyedropper and I come over and I want it to be the exact color of something else that's on my page, I can click and it will tell me what that color is, and then it will change it to that. Now, you'll see that mine has this extra spot down here. That's because I had that extra return. That'll eliminate some of that. All right, we are going to go ahead to the next page. So to go to the next page, we just arrow over. When we go back to the plus button, we can take a look at camera. Now, the first time you choose camera on your Chromebook, sorry, my camera was closed. You'll get a pop-up that asks if you allow Book Creator to use your camera. You just need to click on allow. A little tip is that for students, for whatever reason, the pop-up, the allow will be on the opposite side as yours is. So if you're modeling it, just remind the students that allow starts with an A. Here we have the option to just take a picture, and then we can use the picture. You can delete the picture. You also have the ability to record within this. So when we hit record, it will count you down. When it gets to 0, 0, then you can say, hello, welcome. Hit stop recording. Again, you can play it back. If you hit use video or use photo, it will then drop it on your page. While we're letting that think, if we are not clicked on anything on our page, meaning there is no blue box, and we go to the inspector button, we are able to put backgrounds on our page. So because we chose comic book, again, we have these additional background options up here. You just click on them and it will change it. It has your recent backgrounds that you've used. Down here, if you did not choose a comic book, you do have all of these different options. They give you suggested colors. Then again, you can add additional colors. There are papers, there's borders. So they have quite a nice selection of things that you might want to use. We're going to go ahead and go on to page 3. Next up, we have the pen tool. This is probably one of students' favorites. Within the pen tool, the first thing you're going to do is click on the colors. You can choose from any of these fun colors. There's also magic ink on the bottom. If I click on it, I'm going to draw a line of my grass. Anything that is fully enclosed can be automatically colored in. So I can click on the paint bucket and click below. Because this is fully enclosed, it's now going to color in my whole area. If there was just a smidge open, then it would turn my whole page to grass. So that's why it's important that it's fully enclosed. Anytime I insert any sort of drawing, I always hit done in between each drawing. The reason for this is if I end up deciding I don't like how my grass looks, then I can just go and click on it, the blue button, or get the blue box around it and delete the whole thing. So I'm going to go back to the pen tool to show you some other features. So we started with choosing our color. Next up, we have your different pen options. So we have a marker, a paintbrush, a crayon, a highlighter. You can also choose the width of your utensil. And one of the best tools here is the auto draw pen. So the auto draw pen is going to guess what I am drawing. Okay, so you see along the top, it is starting to guess what my drawing is. It thinks that this could be a stethoscope. It could be a scorpion. And you'll see like it will just sort of guess whatever. If you are an extremely talented artist, I do not suggest using auto draw pen because it does not like it. If you give it a lot of details, it's not going to guess what you want it to guess. Once you have the image that you want, you can hit the blue X and then you're going to hit done. So now it's on your page. Now you can move it where you'd like, size it however you want. The other downfall of the auto draw pen is it does not recognize a heart. A lot of our students like to draw a heart. The auto draw pen does not recognize it, so I suggest that they just draw a heart with one of the other tools. I'm going to hop back into pen to just show you one other thing. If you forgot that you wanted a background, I'm going to click on the nebula, the starry night. Click on the paint bucket. Now, because this is a brand new drawing, nothing on this page is enclosed. So when I click, it is going to cover my whole page. Also, sometimes when students accidentally do that, then they go to the erase button and they try to erase the whole thing. I highly encourage them to just click the done so it goes on the page. They click on it, the blue box, and then they can just hit backspace and it will delete the whole thing. I actually want this to be my background, so I have the blue box around it. I go to the eye, the inspector button, and I can move it to the back and it will put it behind everything. Obviously, if you know what your background is, go ahead and get started with that. I just wanted to show you sort of the different layer options. You also can see any one of the drawings that I have. I can click on it and it will give me that pencil. And that will take me back into the pen tool just for this drawing. So now if I wanted to, I don't know, color my tires, it's going to take me within that drawing. And so now my tires are going to pop a little and I'll hit done. All right. So to add a page, we're going to go to this plus button here. and that is going to add one page. If I had done a background on page 3, like a background from the inspector button, it will automatically go on to page 4. If you don't want it, you would just go to the eye, the inspector button, go to colors, and then just choose a white background. Moving on, we have our record button, and this records just your voice. And it will count you down. If you want to record a video, remember to use the camera. When I hit stop recording, I can listen back. I can hit use recording. Now you'll see my color scheme. This is because this is the color scheme I used on my last recording. So if I go to the blue boxes around it, I go to the inspector button, I am able to change the colors of what sort of my volume button looks like. That would be something that's totally up to you and your preference. If I click on it, not sure if it'll record it based on what I chose for my screencast file. If you want to record a video, remember, but then you can play it back. I'm going to head back to my plus button. For right now, I'm going to skip those things, those color things down there. I'm going to go to shapes. Now we have all of our basic shapes here, but you are also able to search within shapes, and you also have the microphone, so you can do speech to text. So let's, I don't know, we're going to say scissors. I don't know why I'm choosing scissors, but you can type in anything and it'll kind of give you clip art. Okay. So you click on the one you want. Again, you can change the color of this by having the blue box, going to the inspector button and changing the color. You also can hyperlink any shapes that you would like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click or two finger click, and I'm going to move this to the back. I also could do that within the inspector button. Now going to move my recording and make it a little bit larger than my picture. With the blue box around this, I'm going to go back to the inspector button, and I'm going to click here where it says invisible when reading. Okay, so now you can't really see that. So if students were to click on it, remember to use the camera. The recording will come through. So that would be something that you're going to use maybe if you're giving directions. And so maybe you have like an ear shape. And so the kids know anytime they see the ear, they should click on it because it's going to give them some sort of direction. But students may use it if they're telling a story and they're having characters speaking. That's just sort of a bonus feature. You are more than welcome to just leave the volume button as is so students know that that is what they should be clicking on. Going to add another page so I can show you panels. Coming back to the plus button, down here, these are options we have because we chose comic book. So we have like our onomatopoeias, our pow, kapow. I suppose I could click on it. So you have all those different options. You have thought bubbles, you have speech bubbles that you could put text in. But one of my favorites is panels. So these are panels that you would see like in a comic book. So I could choose any one of these and that will come on my page. Now, a benefit of this, I'm going to throw a background on there. A benefit of this is if you click within the panel, you will get a plus button. And here you can add images, you can use your camera, you could import files. So we go to image, graph, because I picked tall, skinny one. I just want to find something that might look nice. So we're going to click on giraffe, hit add. It is going to make it fit within the panel. Now we see here I have these 4 arrows. If I click on that, that shows me the original width of the picture. Book Creator, the AI, will try to center it however it thinks it's best. But if you don't like it, when you click on those 4 arrows, you are able to slide it over whichever way you would like. So that's sort of up to you. Also, when I click on it, if I want to get rid of it, I can hit the garbage. Panels are automatically locked. If I decide, hey, I really only want these two panels, I can click on this. So the blue box is around it, and I can either go the inspector button, or I can right click or two finger click and hit unlock. I could resize it, or I can hit the backspace button to simply delete it because maybe I want to just put text over on this side. So I usually use panels if I'm creating a template for students. Typically on the first page, I want them to take a selfie. I'll show you a different library. When you have all the students kind of working on the same type of book, having the selfie is a nice feature. Back to the plus button. We did everything within media. We have shapes. Next up, we have more. Now, if it is your first time in, under more, you will only see files and embed. Files, you can upload any file from your device, including PDFs, and you are able to edit the PDF to an extent. The embed would be if you want to embed a YouTube video. Please remember that if you want the students to be able to watch the YouTube video independently, it still would have to be a video that is pre-approved by the district. If you are unsure if the video is viewable by students, you can go to YouTube. Do not just copy the URL in the address bar. Go to the share button and copy that URL. And then you would go ahead and email it to TSC to ask if it can be approved. Also, under that share button, there is an embed option. That's what you would click on. And then you would click on copy the embed code. When you would come here, you would just paste in that embed code. And it is a nice tool because it will eliminate any advertisements that normally would be seen. All right, so under the more, you have the option to add apps. So we are kind of limited on the apps. There are 9 different options. One of my favorites is Giphy. Now, when you add an app, it'll ask if you want to add it to certain libraries. If you add it into a library, that means any students within that library have the ability to use that app. Typically, I do not enable the app for students. So Giphy has gift stickers and gifts, and it is a lot of fun, but I find students kind of get lost in it. So sometimes if I'm making a template, I will throw in some gifts that might be beneficial or add something to the book, and I will just put them on the sides of the page, and then students can drop them in that way. If you do not have any of your libraries selected, but you are enabling Giphy, that means you still have access to it. So you can use it in any one of your libraries. Next up, we have Bitmoji. This is only available for adults because it is connected to Snapchat. So only those over 18 have the ability to use Bitmoji. Next up, we have Canva. You will see this is one of the few that I do not have marked. That is because I am loyal to Adobe Express because that is the district adopted tool. If you know and love Canva, you are more than welcome to enable that and use the Canva add-on. Also here we have Google Drive. Right now I have it enabled, but honestly, I usually don't. The thing I don't like about it is when you click on Google Drive, and I'll show you in a second, it will show you anything that has ever been shared with you. So any student work that you've had in classrooms, and it just doesn't navigate super nicely. You have to know the exact title of what you're looking for. So typically I will find it in Google Drive, I'll download it, and then I'll just use the add-on of files. A super great tool is graphic organizers. We'll pop into that for a minute. Animated emojis. I usually enable this for students because they definitely like that. You can use feedback stickers. We have Google Maps and we have 3D models. So you would add whatever you want. I can hit the X button. That will just take me back to my book. So if we go into more, I'll show you Google Drive. So you will see in a moment that it is going to show me things that I maybe never even knew someone had shared with me. So you really just have to know the exact title of what you want to do. Under Giphy, you can look for things. We'll do dog. Gifts, it will give you like a background to it. Stickers, there is no background on it, so you can just click on it. Again, you could resize things, and then that would be on your page. If you do enable this for students, obviously just the conversation of choosing things that are appropriate for the topic of your book. Graphic organizers. They have 104 pre-made graphic organizers. This is something that you could just enable for yourself or for your students. They kind of have it split up. So if we choose vocabulary, there's Frere model, there's alpha boxes. I'm going to just click on WordWeb. It'll show it to you a little bit bigger. You can add it to your book and you'll see it added an additional page. Everything is editable. So it's locked right now. So I would right click or go to the inspector button, hit unlock. Now, if I wanted to, I could change the color of this. And then where did it's had like the internal color, but that's too dark. So then I would come and lighten it up. So you are able to add it. I could right click on it. I could copy it and paste it and then change the colors, if I wanted additional ones. So that is kind of a nice feature. Go back under more animated emojis. You cannot search within this, but they have a decent amount. Feedback stickers, Bitmoji, and then we already talked about those things. There is one other way that you can get emojis. They're not animated, but if I go back to that pen button, up here we have emojis and you can search. Unfortunately, there is not the microphone there, so students would not be able to search. And then I would hit done, then move it wherever I would like to. So now if I can go to pages. We can see all my pages that I created. Again, I can move things around if I wanted. I'm going to go back. We can go to the read. And so this would be the read mode of the book. That means nothing can be edited in this. So now if I'm going to go back out into my library. I'm going to say my book is done. I want students to join the library. I would show this invite code, or I could copy the link and drop it in my Google Classroom and have the students join my library. We have this down arrow here, so all my students would be listed under authors. If you want a co-teacher in your library, you would have them join just as an author, and then there'll be 3 dots where you can promote them to a teacher. Next to new book, we have the settings gear where you have your name for your library, and then permissions. So students are allowed to search for images, yes. Edit their own book, yes. The next one up is read each other's books. So students always will be able to read any book that a teacher puts in. Typically, if we are working on books, I turn off their ability to see each other's books. Now, you could leave this off permanently. I definitely turn it off while we are working on a book. Otherwise, they're very curious and they'll go in and check out what everyone else is doing. They do not have the ability to edit another student's book, but I just find it's easily distracts them if they have the ability to look at that. I also turn off collaboration. If this collaboration is turned on, this means that Susie can be working on her book and she can invite Todd to come in and edit her book. She then could turn off that collaboration, and maybe I, as the teacher, would never know that Todd came in and did all of the work. But also it prevents sort of any issues of people messing with each other's books. As the teacher, I could add collaborators on a certain book. So if I decided that those two should work together, then I can have them collaborate. Add comments. Now let me quick hop out. Down in the book, there is this little comment with the plus button. So we can add a comment. So this goes both ways between student and teachers. Students cannot comment on each other's books, but they could ask a question or you could give some sort of feedback. You could record a video, you could record the voice, you could just give an emoji, and then you also have access to your apps that you added. Ideally, this is a fantastic tool. However, what I have noticed so far is that kids use it to spam their teacher, meaning like they just type hi and like they just type lots of messages. They use it more as text messaging rather than to get assistance with their work. So that is entirely up to you if that is how, whatever your option is. And then, oh, I skipped one. Publish their books online. The default for this is off. So publishing their book online does not mean that it would be searchable by anyone just on Google. It just means that they would publish it, they would get a link that they could share with people. So that would be up to you. I definitely don't really suggest it for the younger grades. If they create a book that you want to share with their family, you as the teacher can publish the book and share that link. I just think that, that kind of is the safest route. You can archive the library. If you archive the library, you still have access to it. The students will no longer be able to see their books. And the final thing is to publish the library online. And again, I would not do that. If it has student work in it, you have to make sure that there's media release forms, that last names aren't on things, or things that are going to make it identifiable for other people. Even if you're sharing it with a family and then the family share it on, we just want to make sure that the safety of our students is one of our number one priorities. So then you can just hit the X and then those settings are automatically updated. Next up, we have these 4 squares. This is just the layout of your library. So right now you see I have this long shelf. If I had lots of books, I'd have lots of shelves. If I click on the squares, then it just kind of shows me one book at a time. So if I had other books, you would see this over here. This is the default setting for students, but they are able to toggle the other way. I can click here and I can change the title of my book. I also have the ability to change the author name. So if I was working on this with someone, we could just change it to both of our names. It's also nice because here's where you could take out the last name if you want to share a student book. And there are no pictures of the child in there, but I thought, oh, their frog presentation is great. I would definitely just change it to their first name, again, for safety reasons. Within your library, you have this alarm button. This is your notifications. So this would be where you would see if a student sent you a comment. When you click on the comment, it will take you to that exact book. This last is sort of what my profile is. It just says what my account is. As an MPS employee, you have a limit of 1,000 books. Now, that seems like a lot, but any books that your students make count sort of against you. They count as one of your books. So far, I have not come across the limit on the number of pages in a book. So if I'm working with a class, typically we have a practice book or a playbook, and I tell them anytime they have free time, that is the book they need to go into. They don't need to make a new book every time. But if they're doing a book for an assignment, then yes, I want them to make a book. So if I click on my 3 lines, that is going to take me out into where all of my libraries are. I'm going to hop in this library. You'll see I have all of my students, and then I can promote. So this is a teacher. I can say promote to co-teacher, confirm, and now you'll see they're listed under teacher. Oh, nope, it's under a different one. I was confuddled. All right, so I can copy this book. So if I make a good template and I like the layout of it, I might copy it and then just change the things. You also can combine books. So this is a way to condense things. If you're getting high up, close to 1,000 books, you can click on the books you want combined. You hit next, give it a title. And now it's going to create one book It's going to take a minute to load. That has all those books in it. Then I could go back and delete those original books to sort of save space. Now it's going to give me a generic cover that has just like a book icon on it. But I have the ability to change the cover just in editing. It takes a little bit longer, so I can see I can edit this because there's a pencil on it. So I see my cover page. Again, you can edit however you like. If I go to pages, you'll now see all of my 3 different books. Okay, so then I have that ability to delete those original books if I wanted to. I don't want this one, so I'm going to delete this. All right. Next up, we have this carrot. This is how you can share books. I can click on assign book. The default is to assign it to everyone in the library. What that means is when those other students if I click on this, when the students come back into Book Creator, it is automatically going to make them a copy of this book. If a copy of the book is made for them, then that means they will be able to edit the book, because right now all they can do is read my book. I could click on this. So for like differentiation, I only have one person in this library. Normally I could click on everyone in the library, and I can choose the specific students that I want, and then hit start assignment. It will make a book for them. Also under the share, I can publish this book online. This one already is published. I can tell by this little circle thing. So here we'll go to this one. I can go to publish online, and this will be our pop-up. Make sure you have your title, your author. Again, here you can change your author name. The default is private as to who can find this book. Always keep it on that. Allowing remixes. That means someone could make a copy of the book. So typically I turn on allow remixes because when I'm making a book, it is a template that I want teachers to be able to use. If it is student work, keep the remixes off because we don't want someone to be able to make a copy of their book. And then you can go ahead and hit publish online. You can copy the link, and that would be something maybe you could share out with family members, or you could even do like a QR code if you're doing some sort of display and you want people to be able to just scan it. So to read a book within Book Creator, people do not have to have a Book Creator account. They are able to just read the book. Collaborate. Again, I need to go back to the other library. So if I go to collaborate, again, the default is everyone in the library. If I click on that, that means anyone in the library could edit this book. I can click on change, and then I could choose the specific people that I want to be able to collaborate. And so now when those students come in, they will see a pencil over this book instead of the play button. So then they're allowed to edit that book. When you want to turn off collaboration, you just click on that icon and hit stop collaboration. You can download the book as an ebook. I would suggest if you are interested in having some sort of copy of it, you would hit print, and then you can just save it as a PDF. Now, Book Creator, the idea is that it is a digital book, that you are not printing these all off. I know that sometimes we have great desire to do that. That is okay, but please keep in mind if you're looking at the cover of this book, that is a lot of ink because it is not a solid background. So whatever works best for you in your building. So that is a brief overview. You will always be able to see all of the students' books. Let's go in this example. You'll see here this was a project where the students worked in groups, so I wanted all of their pictures on. So it just sort of gives them that author's notoriety, so to say, but also it's easier for a quick glance. If you would like to know more about Book Creator, please reach out to the instructional tech team.